残酷な天使のように少年のよ
Hey everyone,
3DS guy.
Daniel back again. We're doing another episode of Neon Genesis Evangelion. We're doing episode 19 now.
The unseen God was the unseen voice of God was in the last episode, but this time I'm here. So guess what?
Way to break the fourth wall. You're worse than a Medea's boo, Tyler Perry boo, Halloween boo. Tyler Perry.
You said boo way too many times.
I know. That's alright. We're going into this episode. This episode is actually kind of funny because we're not only introduced to the 13th angel, we're introduced to the fact that the dummy plug system is in operation, and actually probably one of the most chilling battle scenes to this episode. The first half of this episode is called
The Judgment of Life.
Okay, this part of the episode is kind of weird because it plays about like a sitcom, because everyone knows who the third pilot is.
Except Shinji.
Yeah, which is kind of... We kind of understand Misato's reasoning because she explained it in the last episode where she was afraid of how Shinji would take it, having another one of his friends pilot the Eva. But at the same time, there's no reason why no one else tells him.
They just want him to figure it out.
No, it's like they don't want him to know at all, which is kind of odd.
Well, Asuka wanted him to figure it out.
Yeah, and Asuka, that's another thing, that's another part of this whole, for the last two episodes, that's kind of interesting. It's like, why does Asuka care?
I don't think she cares though.
She does, because she's clearly angry about it for the last half of the episode.
No, she's just surprised.
No, she was angry. Remember when she found out with...
Well, she was angry during the Unit 3 fight, yeah.
No, she was angry in the last episode when she found out from Kaji. Remember when she...
Oh yeah, she was angry about that, yeah.
And in this episode, she's still angry, but... other than the fact that she doesn't like him because she doesn't like him, there's no reason for her to be angry. So I kind of find that kind of odd about... And there's no explanation for it. There is also an interesting part with, obviously, the Unit 3 pilot, Toji, where he makes the kind of interesting demand on Nerve. You remember what it is?
No.
He agrees to be the pilot of Unit 3 as long as his sister gets to be taken into the care of Nerve. Remember, his sister, who we've never seen in the series,
oh yeah,
got injured
because of Unit 1
in episode 1. Yeah. So
no, it was episode 2.
No, it was episode 1. Episode 2 was flashbacks when we actually saw the fight.
Exactly. Well, it was 2.
So in the first half of this episode, we see Unit 3 being taken to Nerve in Japan. And it happens to go through a storm where you see something happen to it.
Which causes...
I was going to say, you're spoiler, Phil, so go ahead and say it.
Which causes Unit 3 to be infected. Well, I'm not going to spoil everything until we get to the second half of this episode. But I just got to say, whoever delivered Unit 3 should be fired because of the fact of what happens in the next half of this episode. That's all I got to say for now.
Alright. What do you think about Toji's story arc in the first half?
Yeah.
It's kind of... I kind of wish they would have spent more time with Toji in this episode, because this is one of the episodes where it plays where the audience knows who the third pilot is. Shinji doesn't know who the pilot is. But at the same time, Toji's lamenting it because he's having flashbacks to when he first met Shinji. and he straight up punched him in the face. And obviously he has issues with being a pilot, but he kind of knows he has to do it because he's doing it on his sister's behalf because he wants her to get the care. There's a really, you want to say awkward, you want to talk about the scene with Toji and, not Toji, with Kaji and Shinji? There's a really odd scene, and
It's odd.
Kaji at time though feels like he's not really a character. He kind of feels like a narrative. Because even there's a conversation that Kaji and Shinji have when they're both sleeping, and the problem with it is that's not a conversation a normal person would have with anyone. Like, Kaji kind of talks in a way where, like, he sounds like he's reading from a book or he's way too philosophical.
Yeah.
So the conversation kind of comes off really weird. But this half of the episode ends with the test being conducted on Unit 3, and it all goes wrong, literally from the get-go.
So as I said before, when I said that guy who delivered Unit 3 should be fired, there's a specific reason for that.
Well, there's a whole bunch of people who delivered. It's more than one person.
They should all be fired.
They should. There's also a little cute subplot in this episode about what's her name? Hikari. Falling for Toji. And it is kind of really cute because you have to remember they're all still in high school or junior high, right? Yeah, high school, because they're all 14-year-olds. That part is kind of hilarious. But yeah, the episode ends up with the entry plug being put inside Unit 3.
They're testing it, and then after that storm that it had to go through, it got affected by that storm, and thus an angel was born.
Yeah, the Unit 3 literally blows up, and it blows up the facility around it.
Yeah, it destroys everything, but somehow the Ava itself survived.
Mm-hmm. And
I think someone said it was an entomb mine or something. I don't know.
No, it just literally blew up the place. And the testing facility where happens to be where Ritsuko and Masato are, and it freaking wipes out the landscape. They all get injured, and then we enter the second part of the episode called.
Now we're gonna move on to the next half of the episode, ambivalence.
Okay, so now we begin with the second part of episode 18, and it's where Unit 3, obviously I didn't know that the mute button wasn't on, Unit 3 goes batshit crazy. It's infested by the Ava, and we get a knockdown, drag-out fight.
So technically, Unit 3 blows up the entire facility that it was being tested on. And now they injuring Misato and Ritsuko. And now they send out Unit 0, 1, and 2 to fight 3.
And kind of one of the interesting things about this fight is that since Masato has been taken out, the battle is in fact led by
Gendo. I almost forgot his name.
Gendo Ikari. And all throughout this, Shinji still doesn't know who the pilot is. So there's a moment where the three kids are talking, Asuka, Shinji, and Rei, or Asuka, Shinji, and Oh yeah, that is right. Are talking where Asuka's gonna tell Shinji who the third pilot is, who the pilot of Unit 3 is, and she gets taken out in quick order.
And then it's up to Unit 0 and 1. But Gendo tells Rei not to engage close combat with Unit 3. Unit 3 can sense Unit 0 and then just straight out attacks her and then tries to merge with Unit 0. Thus having to cut off Unit 0's arm, and then Unit 3 moves on to the last Ava.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting because this is one of those episodes where you can tell that whatever happens to the Ava affects the pilot.
So technically, Rei just got her arm cut off.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's actually still there.
Yeah.
So that's 2 Avas knocked out, and with 1 Ava to go, it all goes down to Shinji Ikari in Ava Unit 1. But he knows that there's something wrong with Unit 3, but he doesn't want to fight. Because he knows that there's a pilot inside. Still not knowing who the pilot is, unfortunately.
And he fights that, he doesn't want to hurt him. Or he doesn't want to hurt the pilot, whoever it is. This kind of leads to one of the series' most disturbing scenes, because Shinji doesn't want to hurt whoever it is, and he doesn't. One of the interesting things about this, he doesn't know who the pilot is. So despite the fact that the audience knows who the pilot is in Toji, he doesn't. And that kind of makes up a lot for Shinji's arc. Because he doesn't want to hurt people. He doesn't want to do bad. And then Gendo, you want to do this part?
Gendo switches out Shinji's systems to the dummy plug. And then all of a sudden, Unit 1 just starts fighting Unit 3 on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Thus destroying Unit 3, and then even destroying the dummy plug with Toji inside. But Shinji doesn't know until like later on in the night, where everything is like chaotic, there's ambulances everywhere. Misada finally tells who Shinji...
No, she doesn't tell him.
She doesn't tell him, he figures it out.
Because he sees
Toji being hurt and taken to an ambulance.
Mm-hmm. And, there's been a lot of lead up to the dummy plug, and the dummy plug system says this. It's a very interesting scene considering that the dummy plug system says Rei's name underneath it.
Yeah, kind of awkward.
Mm-hmm.
And again, she's not human.
There's a battle scene that is very graphic.
You're no kidding.
Yeah, but it's not anime graphic. There's worse stuff in Death Note, Attack on Titans.
Definitely.
Stuff like that, but this is brutal. And we see Unit 1. We're in spoiler territory, so fuck it, let's go with it.
Beating the crap out of Unit 3 to death. He just crushed it.
Yeah, he rips Unit 3 apart, now the 13th Angel. And in a moment that's... Yeah, he destroys the capsule.
The entry plug.
The entry plug.
Once again, I have already said this.
And he finds out Toji's the pilot, and he freaking does what Shinji always does in these type of moments. He
freaks out.
He freaks out and lets a primordial scream come out. That sounds something like...
Shinji!
And there you go.
That. And that's how we end this episode. You want to say something about the episode?
That was actually a pretty dark episode. That's all I gotta say.
It's a really good episode. There's a lot of things that happen in this episode. There's a lot of consequences that will be rolling on forward. Toji is the jock who turns into a very interesting character, because he could have been just like flat and just been like the sports dude. He didn't. The explanation for why Unit 3 turned into the 13th Angel can be kind of shaky, but there is no doubt about the fight sequence. It will be expelled upon in Evangelion The Rebuild 2.22, but for a TV series, this is really good. This might be one of the best episodes in the series. What do you think?
Probably.
That's pretty much it. I'll be coming back in with episode 20. In the links below will be
my channel.
Yeah, his playthrough. We're gonna be doing a couple of Smash Brothers fight-ups pretty soon. So
what we've been doing lately.
Yeah.
And we actually did a recording, or no, we didn't record. We actually played on our own time, and I saved a replay. So we'll comment on what we did last night, or should I say, like way earlier this morning. Technically 12 hours ago, because it was 12 in the morning by the time we were doing this.
I think it was 2 in the morning.
No, it was 12, because by 2 you were asleep, and I was still up watching Sonic X.
So leave a comment below, subscribe,
and peace.